Let's bring in political commentator John Hinderaker to discuss. John, welcome to the show. It's always great having you here. What on earth is going on in Washington, D.C.?
Well, first of all, I love it when the people who tried to put Donald Trump in prison call him an authoritarian and a fascist dictator. There's a certain lack of self-knowledge there. But what's happening here is that Donald Trump is trying to enforce the law, and that is his core responsibility under Article 2 of the Constitution, to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. And it's important for our viewers to understand that the District of Columbia is federal territory. It's not part of any state. It is governed ultimately by Congress and by the president. And under the Home Rule Act, which I think was passed in 1973, there's a specific provision that says that the president can declare an emergency and he can take over the Metropolitan Police for up to 30 days. And that is exactly what Trump has done. He's also called out the National Guard, and he's assigned some other federal law enforcement like FBI agents to the streets in Washington, D.C. And there's just no question about the fact that this is all perfectly legal.
Well said. Well, on MSNBC, there was a rare moment of clarity. While most in the media were resorting to this, lazy and inflammatory dictator-style comments, Joe Scarborough made this point.
The answer to this problem for Democrats is not, oh, everything's okay, there's nothing to see here, move along, move along. Oh, Washington has dropped 24% or whatever in crime. Well, let me give you some other numbers. The Washington Post took a poll in late April, early May. 91% of Washington residents say crime is a problem. 91%. 51%, it is an extremely serious problem. And John Heilman, we've had people before put this in racial terms. And this is, I must say, this is one thing that I think Democrats have gotten so wrong about crime. So wrong about crime.
Well, John, this is fascinating. You've got a situation where, there's two elements to this. MSNBC, finally an actual reasonable point, looking at some polling rather than their own very insular view of America and of reality. But you do have a situation where Democrats do appear to put themselves into this trap. And the trap is everything that Trump does is oppositional, will exaggerate everything that he does to make it seem like he is a dictator. And then it ignores the reality on the ground that perhaps there very is a real issue with crime.
Well, they come across like they're on the side of the criminals. The fact is that Washington, D.C. has the fourth highest murder rate of any city in America, and it's beset with vagrants, homeless people. It is a dirty and dangerous city. Chuck Schumer, the Senate Minority Leader, said, I feel perfectly safe walking around Washington, D.C. Well, yeah, everywhere he goes, he has armed security, okay? So the people who are really victimized by these criminals, it's primarily the poorer people, and that's the way it always is. So Donald Trump has a vision that he believes that Washington, D.C. should be a capital city that Americans can be proud of, that when people from the United States and from around the world come to Washington, this should be a safe, beautiful city that we could all feel proud of, and I think he's absolutely right.
And on MSNBC, Joe Scarborough, what's going on there in your mind? Is there a deliberate attempt to be more balanced because they're bleeding viewers? Or, what is going on?
Well, it's a little late in the day for MSNBC to try to be balanced. I think the left-wing media, you see it at CNN, you see it all over the place. The left-wing media have been losing a lot of viewers because they have gotten so over the top, so unreasonable that a lot of people have just tuned them out.
Well said. Well, moving on, we finally heard a lot of theories about the cancellation of Stephen Colbert's late night show, but new Paramount chief Jeff Shell has shot down conjecture that Colbert's cancellation was some sort of act of appeasement to Donald Trump. Instead, he stated that the late night format has a huge problem right now. John, this is really interesting to me because I think the media was getting away with a lot of conspiracy theories about how there must have been this deal done with the president. They were calling it, an authoritarian overreach, an attack on the press, etc. But the bloke who's running the joint is saying, no, this is a money-losing format. We have a problem. We need to shake things up and change it. Do you think we'll be getting some corrections or some apologies from some of these journalists? And what's your reading of the broader late night issue?
Well, first of all, there's no mystery as to why Stephen Colbert got canceled. His show was losing CBS $40 million a year. It's like they were making an annual donation to the Democratic Party of $40 million. It's amazing that he hung on as long as he did. But we've seen this all across late night television. The kind of audience that Johnny Carson, for example, once had is gone. And these left-wing late night hosts have deliberately driven away at least half of the country, and their ratings are a fraction of what Johnny Carson and David Letterman got years ago. And the reason for that is that they went political and they went far left. Now, the late night host who gets the best ratings is Greg Gutfeld on Fox News. He outdraws all of the network late night hosts. And when Jimmy Fallon had Greg Gutfeld on as a guest on his late night show, his ratings jumped up by 57%. And I think what that tells you is that there's a lot of Americans who would be willing to watch late night television, but they're not interested in hour-long infomercials for the Democratic Party.
Well said. John Hinderaker, thank you so much as always. Really appreciate your insights.